Hey everybody, welcome back. Walking with Jesus Daily 99. You know, if you're on this, that we're about to get meaty. And this meatiness is going to be a little bit different. This is kind of one of those meatiness where you throw a big brisket up on the smoker and you leave. And you trust that your smoker is going to do what it does. And that when you return from your long, hard day at work, that you have a perfectly cooked Bertha sitting out there waiting for you. That's kind of what we're getting into here. That takes a little bit of faith. Let's see what we're talking about today. We are in the end of John, and we have a lot to see in a very short period of verses. Nothing happens on accident. Nothing in these verses, nothing that is stated in here is an accident. The words are actually so carefully chosen because there are so few. The words are so carefully chosen that they must be studied each on their own. They must be looked at and studied and focused on each on their own because they matter. They matter because God chose them. God chose them so that we could have them. These kind of things are important, and we've got to see them as important. It says that Jesus returned to Cana. Why was he going to Cana? Why was he away from Capernaum? Did Jesus not have foreknowledge of what was going to happen or what was going to come? We know that Jesus followed the Spirit. He returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, right? It lets us know that this is where Jesus turned water into wine. This is where the miracle took place in purification jars. This is where Jesus showed that he had authority over nature itself. That Jesus took something that was one way and changed it to another. And he didn't even touch it. He just gave instruction. Now, when we look back at that story, what is something that we see that is not only common between these stories, but expected? And it's obedience. We didn't hear the servants say to Jesus, I don't know why you want us to fill up purification jars with water. Maybe you didn't hear correctly that we're out of wine. We didn't get that. We didn't get when he asked him to dip out of it and take it to the master of the ceremonies. You want me to dip the water out of here and take it to him, and you want me to have him drink this water. We didn't get that. We just got straight obedience. Nothing but straight obedience, without question obedience. I'm merely doing what I'm asked to do. Here we have Jesus in Cana of Galilee. It's somewhere between 18 and 20 miles. I keep saying 18, but round it off, whatever you want to do. I don't know the exact number, okay? But I know that he's not at home. And I know that it takes a point to point out where he is and what he had done when he was there. So we're not confused with what Cana he could possibly be at. He's at the one we were talking about before. And the Capernaum, we know exactly where it is because it was pointed out in the tribes. Okay. Good. And at Capernaum, okay, where he had made his new home, there was an official. Now, it says official. Do we know what kind of official this is? Well, when I go to Amplified, it says there was a certain royal official whose son was sick in Capernaum. a royal official, meaning someone of royalty, an official of royalty that was above other people, that had command and control over and above other people. He doesn't go, he sends. Unless the household of Herod sends him. Right? He's an official for the royal family. All right? Put those things together in your mind. It says he had a son who's sick in Capernaum. We can probably assume, and I'm going to stay in Amplified for a bit here. We can probably assume at this point that they have tried to make him well and have been unable to. We can probably assume that they've brought in everything that they had to heal his son. And they have not been successful. So it says, having heard that Jesus had come back from Judea to Galilee. Word is getting around, word is spreading because of his teachings. It doesn't say that a single miracle was performed in Samaria, but they believed. It doesn't say that Jesus performed miracles at the Passover, but we have his teachings, and we know that he did teach. At the end of this, it actually says this is the second sign. The second sign that Jesus performed in Cana after he had come from Judea to Galilee. I do not know whether to read that as the second sign that he ever did or the second one that he performed in Cana, because it was the second one that he performed in Cana. However, that's what we have recorded. We're going to go with it. We don't have other things recorded. I'm not going to assume one way or the other. He's Jesus. Regardless, this official hears that Jesus had come back. So he decides his son is dying, and if he leaves to go on an 18 to 20 mile walk, or even if he's on a horse or a donkey, we're not talking about like something that goes fast, but at a decent pace, I think you can walk like a 20-minute mile, give or take. I don't know. If we make the assumption that that's the case, that means he can walk 3 miles in 1 hour. So maybe he can walk 4 miles an hour. Maybe he's really getting after it. So 4 miles in 1 hour. This is 5 hours one way, and this is 5 hours back. Not even knowing for sure if he's going to find Jesus, if he's going to be able to talk to Jesus, if he's going to be able to convince Jesus to come back. But this is what he knows, that if he doesn't make the trip to go find Jesus, his son is for sure going to die. And he may very well die while he's on this trip. He doesn't send his servants. He goes himself. This official, this royal official, leaves his dying son, makes the 5 hour, give or take, journey to Jesus. And what can go through your mind in a 5 hour walk? What goes through your mind on a 5-minute walk? It says that he went to meet him and began asking him. This is where he finds Jesus, and he says, "Come down and heal my son. He is at the point of death." It's interesting how he comes to Jesus. It says, Jesus said to him, and I'm going to read it in Amplified, unless you people see miraculous signs and wonders, you simply will not believe. I don't know if he's, again, speaking directly at, I think this man just wants his son to be healed, and he already believes. He already made the trip. And he said, I believe that if you make the trip, if you come to where my son is, that you can heal him. I believe he'll be made well in your presence. But I need you to come. I need you to come with me. And Jesus starts speaking about people needing signs and wonders to believe. Isn't that it? Look at how this progresses here. It says, you guys need signs and wonders. If you don't see them, you just simply won't believe. That sounds like so many people I know right now. I really need to see God in this. I'll believe when he shows me a sign. I'll believe whenever. Look up at the sky. There's a moon right now that's glowing in the sky. You say, well, that's science. No, that's God. Okay? Look at the skin on your hands. Do you realize that the skin on your hands is made up of so many tiny, tiny, tiny microscopic cells that group together? Do you realize that? Do you know we have no idea really how the brain works? I mean, come on, guys. How in the world do two cells come together and then start to reproduce and start to become new things? And how do they know what they're supposed to become to form a baby? The royal official pleaded with him. This is what he says. Sir. The royal official, who is called Sir himself, does not call other people Sir, but he is Sir. He comes to Jesus. Doesn't send for Jesus to come there, because he could have. I'm not going to leave my dying son. Go find Jesus and bring him to me. Nope. He goes himself. And then he comes before Jesus and he says, Sir. Addressing Jesus as though he is a higher rank. Sir, do come down at once before my child dies. This man believes and knows that his child has no hope without Jesus. And he pleads with Jesus, please come heal my child. What would you do if your child was dying and you knew Jesus was just 5 hours away? Jesus says to him, because Jesus knows his heart. Jesus may not know the whole story. Jesus knows. But the man may not have told Jesus the whole story. But this is what we get to go with. The man, okay, says to Jesus, Sir, do come now at once before my child dies. And Jesus says to him, go, your son lives. He says it clearly. In mine, it's an exclamation point. The next sentence is a big deal. Because it says this, the man believed what Jesus said to him and started home. The man believed. No other words were spoken here. The man believed that Jesus needed to come to his home and heal his son. Jesus makes a blanket statement over anybody that was around there listening. and then tells him to go. Your son lives. And the official says nothing. Not how, not aren't you coming, nothing. It says he believed what Jesus said to him and started home. So he believes enough to start the journey. He meets Jesus asking for something specific, doesn't get what he asks for, and believes and leaves. And it says this: as he was already going down the road, his servants met him. The ones he could have sent, the ones who serve under him, met him and reported that his son was living and was well. What? So the man is running through his mind. Did I need to even see Jesus? Did my son just start to get better on his own? Isn't that what we do as people? Don't we rationalize what took place? Okay, let's make sense of this. That was a wasted trip. I didn't even need to go. He's fine. I told you he'd be fine. Right? Don't we say or do things, or is that just me? Probably just me. So he asked them. Now he wants to know at what time he began to get better. When did this take place? When did he start to be healed? They said, yesterday during the 7th hour. So that's 1 in the afternoon. So if we put this together, it says 1 p.m. the fever left him. If we put this together, if it's a 5-hour journey approximately, and however long it took to see Jesus and meet Jesus, it's in the heat of the day. 1 in the afternoon when he hears and believes and then begins his journey back home. So what time are these servants meeting him? Is this like the next day? Well, remember, when they say yesterday, the day begins when the sun goes down. So roughly 6 p.m. If he started his journey at 1, it was probably 5, 6, 7 hours journey home. So the next day had started because the sun had gone down, and that's how they counted their days. Sun up. Sun up was not the beginning of the next day. It was sundown. The end of a day started a new day. They said yesterday, during the 7th hour, the fever left him. Then the father realized that it was at that very hour when Jesus said the words to him, "Your son lives." Listen to the next line. It says, and he and his entire household believed and confidently trusted in him as Savior. The steps that took place in this man's life of faith. He first decided that Jesus was worth the journey. So he went. He next heard the instruction that he got from Jesus and did not question it and just obeyed. He then finds out from his servants that his son is well and lives, and he's beginning to put the pieces together. And he realized that this was the exact time. The exact time. Now turn right. That Jesus has said these words to him. Go, your son lives.
Now you have arrived at your destination.
His faith grows even more. And now at this point, his faith has grown to the point where he and his entire household believes. He tells the story of this man, Jesus. I told you I was right. I told you he was who we needed to go to. I told you he was the way. Who cares? Who does the I told you so's? Whatever. What happened was this man's journey of faith started one way, ended up a different way. And what the difference was Jesus. But this man showed faith, belief, obedience, and then he told of the goodness of God. Guys, we are on this journey with Jesus. It took faith to start it. We have to believe that Jesus is the way. And then we have to obey and do what he asks of us, regardless if it makes sense or if it's what we're asking him for or if it's what we started this for in the first place. It doesn't matter. Not anymore. You are dying. Your only hope is Jesus. Believe and do what he says. Verse 54 says, this is the second sign or miracle that Jesus performed in Cana after he had come from Judea to Galilee, revealing that he is the Messiah. He is the one, the Christ. Do we believe? Yes. Do we have faith? Yes. Are we obedient? I hope so. Are we sharing the stories of how Jesus changed our lives? Are we sharing the stories of the goodness of God? Are we telling people, you don't understand, this took place and this took place and now we're well? See, people rely now too much on themselves and on man. I fixed that guy. I healed that guy. He got better because of this medicine. He got better because we ate this whatever food. He got better because blah, blah, blah. Stop giving power to people. Stop giving power to inanimate objects or nutrients we get, okay? Or medicine. Healing takes place because God heals. Period. We have to have faith to go the distance to find Jesus. We have to have faith to believe the words that he says. We have to have the faith that is obedient to what he asks, even if and especially if, because it's not gonna be what we asked for in the first place or what we thought we needed. Let Jesus be Jesus, and we can work on being his disciples. Let Jesus be our God, and we can work on being his servants. Lead people to Jesus and not to your religion or your beliefs or yourself. This man had to find it. And because of what happened, and because of his story, and because nothing else worked, and there was no other hope, and his son just mysteriously got well at a very specific time, he and his whole household believed. Jesus is just getting warmed up. But are you obedient in your faith? And do you need a sign to believe? Or is he enough? I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow for day 100.